Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, both those of you here at the Melian Hanoi and those of you viewing via our webcast. My name is Rob Zamacona, and as the Director of Investor Relations at Techcombank, it's my pleasure to welcome you to our analyst presentation for the first quarter of 2019. Just to inform you of the flow of the afternoon, in about 1 minute, I'll be introducing our CEO, Mr. Nguyen Quoc Anh, who will kick off our presentation, which today is not only about our financial performance, but also, and more importantly, about the journey of transformation that Techcombank has undertaken and how that has impacted how we operate, especially in our business banking and retail banking divisions. After that, you'll hear from the heads of those divisions, Mr. Vishal Shah and Ms. Lê Thi Bích Phung. Lastly, our CFO, Mr. Bang Trin, will come up and share with you what that has meant for us on a financial and bank-wide level. At the end of the presentation, we will introduce a short tea break while they set the stage for our question and answer session. After that, you'll see me again, and all of our speakers will become panelists to answer the questions during that session. So, with that being said, and without further ado, please join me in welcoming to the stage our CEO, Mr. Nguyen Quoc Anh.
Thank you, Rob. So bây giờ tôi xin phép nói tiếng Việt.
And first of all, again, I would like to warmly thank you all for coming today or watching us through the webcast. It is now near the end of May 2019, but as Rob said, it is not just an opportunity to share with you the financials, but also to share our story of the transformation journey that Techcombank has been through so that you can have a better understanding of where the numbers come from and what we are focusing on. So again, thank you all for coming. And as Rob said, we will focus more today on what we have done because those are the things that drive our healthy financials. And again, the numbers, the healthy financials do not come from nowhere. They are the results of the joint effort of all employees of Techcombank. And this is also the result of the 4 years of transformation since 2015. And today, after 4 years, our employees number has increased from 7,000 to nearly 10,000. Our strategy of transformation was kicked off in 2016, early 2016, and now after nearly 4 years of transformation, you will see what we have done so far, and then looking back at what we have done, we would talk about what the future will unfold for us. We would also like to share with you the context of the Vietnamese economy. Over the past 2 to 4 years, the economy of Vietnam has been growing steadily at 6 to 7%. And when the economy becomes a limit slowed down, what implications does it have for Techcombank? And especially for the business banking business and retail banking business. And later on, you will listen to our heads of retail banking and business banking on our transformation journey. So that is the overall objective of today. And first of all, let us put ourselves into context. The key highlights of our presentation today are the following. First of all, I will share with you our transformation journey over the past 3 to 4 years. Techcombank is a local bank, but we are facing a big issue. Our customers' needs are becoming increasingly sophisticated, and this is not only true in Vietnam, but also in the world. And especially financial needs of our customers are being met directly by different players in the market. and they are not limited by space or by time, because now, thanks to advanced technology, they can get access to banking and financial services very conveniently. And that's why the key question to us is how to meet customers' demand in the most convenient, effective, and seamless way, thanks to the use of technology. And our transformation journey has been more than 3 years. And today we will be sharing with you that we are achieving quite healthy financials, and this is only the start. So based on the execution of our customer centricity approach, instead of the product-centric approach, we try to adjust the way we work, the way we operate, in order to meet customers' needs and expectations. So over the past 3 years of our transformation journey, we are the best performing private bank in Vietnam. The Vietnamese population now is nearly 100 million people, and every year we have young people getting married, and these newly married couples need a house to live in. So if you look at the young population of Vietnam, you can see that there is huge needs of housing for the newly wed couples, and Techcombank would like to meet that housing demand, especially for young couples living in urban areas and cities. We have the mortgage loan product to meet the housing needs of the young people. The second need of people is saving and also investment. So we have an increasing middle income class, and they want to save, they want to make investment with attractive interest rate, and that's why we want to offer the suitable products that meet those needs. The third highlight here, especially on value creation, is to reduce the cash usage of the people in Vietnam, because Vietnam's economy is still largely a cash-based economy. But now with the introduction of technology, we try to encourage people to have online transactions and digital banking, and offer very convenient and advanced payment solutions. And later on, Phượng, the head of BFS, our retail business, will talk more about that. Another need of Vietnamese people is to have protection for their life and for their finances, and here we would also try to focus on meeting personal insurance and life insurance needs of our customers. So we know that Vietnamese economy is transforming, and we have a forward-looking view of what the customers need and will need in the future. And we are also changing the structure of our balance sheet. Later on, when our CFO talks about financials, you can see that the structure of our balance sheet is transforming. And if you compare our balance sheet in 2016 to our balance sheet in 2019, you can see that an increasing share of our loans and our exposure to the small and medium enterprises, as well as the retail customers, rather than the large corporates. And our credit growth is also quite healthy. We are still capped by the central bank credit growth cap, but the central bank highly appreciates Techcombank's credit quality, and that's why they give us quite good room for the expansion of our credit. And that confirms that we are on the right track, and we are doing quite well in restructuring our balance sheet. And if you look at the ratio, the efficiency ratio, you can see that Techcombank is the most efficient bank in Vietnam. I mean, we have very good profitability, and this is true not only in the Vietnamese market, but we are also on par with other banks in the region. And efficiency ratios are very important to measure the financial health and profitability of a bank. Now let us talk about what we have been doing since 2015. Back in 2008, 2009, we had the global financial crisis, and we had some lingering pains from such crisis. And for that reason, in 2010 and 2012, our performance was quite slow because at that time, instead of focusing on developing products, we try to strengthen our customers' insights. We try to have a forward-looking view of what customers will need in the future, and we also have to enrich and strengthen our customers' database, as well as how we talk about how to respond to customers' needs and demands. In the past, we work based on customer segments, but we try to have, but in the past we were quite product-centric, and we were still having some operational silos. I mean, sometimes business units do not talk too much together and to each other. But now we are changing the way we do business. We change the focus so that employees of Techcombank have a more customer-centric mindset, a service mindset rather than a product mindset. And this is very significant change in the way we do business. And this is what we have been doing in the past 4 years. Every Techcomer understands the customer centricity focus, and then we can allocate and prioritize our resources and spend more time talking to the customers, doing customer surveys and research so that we can understand their behavior, their habits, and then we can introduce and develop products and services to meet those needs. And internally, we also try to reorganize the bank. And if you look at the list of BOM members, you can see that the composition of our BOM in 2014 and 15, now we have more members to the BOM, and our BOM are also becoming more highly experienced, not only in the local but also in the regional and international banking and finance industry. We also have better engagement of Techcomers to the organization, as well as customers' experience and satisfaction and loyalty. And this is our strategy on one page. I guess that this is quite familiar to you, but let me just reiterate what we have been talking about. This is only one page strategy, but it has a lot of implications. At the center, you can see that we have customer-centric. On the left-hand side, you can see what we would focus on people excellence, on operational excellence, as well as risk excellence. And there is another concept, which is excellence. And here, we don't just want to be ordinary. We want to be extraordinary. We want to be excellent in terms of risk management, of operations, and people. Because excellence will make us different from other banks in Vietnam. And in order to be excellent, we need to have data analytics capability so that we can understand our customers better. So, and on the right-hand side, you can see the results, or the indicators that we will track our performance. Because if we do the right things right, we will have better customers' loyalty, and also better customers' satisfaction and penetration. one important indicator is the number of products per customer, and our objective is to have 4 products per customer. And that means customers are happy and satisfied with our services, because if they are happy, they will use more and more of our financial products and services. The second indicator is 30% increase of TOI. You can see that our TOI and PBT has increased around 30% year on year. That means in 5 years we can double our TOI and PBT. 30% year-on-year growth means that we can double our bank's TOI and PBT after 3 years. And this is, extraordinary. However, as I said, it is not the objective. The objective is customer centricity, how to best respond and meet customers' needs and demands. But if we do that right, then we would have 30% growth of 4 products per customer. So the previous slide was about what we will do, what we will focus on, and what we will achieve as a result of doing those things. But on this slide, you can see the question of how, and this is our refreshed business model of 7 components in terms of customers, in terms of products and pricing. For example, credit services, consultancy services, as well as transaction and customer service. And we would also like to organize our branches and our sales network so that we can serve our customers better. In terms of risk management, we also adopt the best international practices and standards. For example, IFRS 9, Basel II, or other advanced risk management models based a lot on data and analytics and so on. So all the 7 components of our refreshed business models would answer the question of how. However, we cannot do everything at the same time. So our transformations is divided into 3 different stages or waves. The first wave is building the foundation. And here we would focus on building the people excellence and also organizational capabilities. Building the foundation is the starting point, and this is not. This is only the starting. This is only the first stage, but we have already achieved quite positive results. The second wave of transformation is upgrade. We upgrade the foundations, and we also upgrade our infrastructure. And at the moment, we are in stage 2. And if we are successful with the upgrading of our foundations and infrastructure, we would be able to achieve extraordinary growth. So let me just pause there and give the floor to Vishal, head of our business banking division, to share with you what we have been doing with our business banking business. But before he talks about that, we would like to explain that we have 3 main customer segments: the retail segment, individual customers, the business, small and medium-sized enterprises, and large corporates. And here we would like to focus on the 6 economic sectors that account for more than 60% of the total GDP of Vietnam. So again, in order to be highly successful and achieve extraordinary things, we need to be focused. So the 6 economic sectors are what we decide to focus on. And later on, our CFO will talk in more details about our financials. In 4th quarter of 2015, when we kick-started our transformation, to now we have 14 quarters of continuous growth. A growth of a quarter may be thanks to good luck, but achieving 14 consecutive quarters of growth is no random. So let me just reiterate before my colleagues comes to the stage. This is the concerted effort of all employees of Techcombank, and the customers that come to us will become more engaged, more loyal, and more satisfied with the services and products that we offer. So let me now introduce and invite Mr. Vishal, head of our business banking. Cảm ơn anh Quốc Anh.
If you need the headphones. I'm still practicing my Vietnamese, but haven't come around talking to a lot. As our CEO explained, the situation back in 2013, 2014, and what the bank was at that time. I'm here to share with you how we've really transformed our business bank. So what is business banking? As the slide says, it's right from micro SMEs to mid corporates. So clients with sales turnover of $0 to $100 million. And they are the heartbeat of the Vietnamese economy. More than 600,000 registered businesses. And as a lot of household businesses start registering, this number will go up. They also contribute significantly to the employment of the country. And increasingly, SMEs are integrating globally, particularly with CTPP, etc. So really, Vietnam is at the forefront of integrating with the world economy, starting with ASEAN as well as rest of the world. So let me start with the performance. I was here back in January, and I shared about the performance of the business bank. So let me first focus on Q1 results. So Q1 2019, what you can see on the right-hand side, we have delivered 28% year-on-year growth. Our aim, as our CEO mentioned, is 30% year-on-year growth, and we are very confident that we will achieve 30% year-on-year growth. A few months ago, back in January, I was here sharing about the numbers of 2018. So this growth of 28% year-on-year in Q1 2019 is on the back of strong growth which we had in 2018, which was 27%. And over 2016 and 2017, we were really transforming the business. We were reshaping the book. We were de-risking also our clients. So let me move on the left-hand side, which is our loan balances. We've had 55% year-on-year growth in our loan book. 55%. Now, you may be wondering, is it in the right segment? Are we taking too much risk? The answer is absolutely no, because we are very, very clear where we want to compete. So as our CEO said, as QS said, the 6 economic sectors and the chosen subsegments within those economic sectors is where we really play. The other thing, look at the shape of our book. The shape of our business banking book is 80% short-term trade and working capital, which is self-liquidating in nature. And 20% is mid-long-term, which is all secured. It's offered only to clients where we have main bank relationships and where we already have their short-term working capital. We don't do unsecured lending. We always do partially secured lending. And that's really the beauty of our business. So last year, 2017 to 2018, you can see 40% growth in our lending balances, and we have continued that stellar performance into Q1 2019. Business banking, as I said last time, is not just about lending. It's about gathering low-cost, sticky deposits with the enablement of technology and transaction banking solutions. And we've grown our deposit balance by 26%. And you can see the mix between our CASA and term deposits is almost 70% to 30%. So 70% of our deposits in business banking are low cost and sticky. And as interest rates rise, our TOI will keep increasing. And this is a great source of liquidity. So the bank now has strong liquidity both from retail bank as well as the business bank as we've started to grow. So last year was 16% growth, and year-on-year this year is at 26%. And obviously, our target is to replicate that. Let me again just move to the right-hand side, which is the shape of our earnings in the business bank. So, in spite of the strong lending growth, we are using lending as a hook to grow non-lending business. 70% of business banking TOI is actually from NII deposits and fees and FX. And that's the flow business. And only 1/3 or 30% is from lending. So you can see how we've reshaped the mix of the earnings. This is low-cost deposits, sticky CASA, as well as revolving short-term trade working capital, which keeps churning over. So we are not having a huge mid-long-term book which runs off. We are really focused on short-term working capital and using lending as a hook to drive non-lending businesses, and that's really important. Our client base is also increasing, and I'll elaborate that in the next slide. Sorry, can I have the next slide, please? Yeah, okay. Can you change the slide here, please? It should be, yeah. Okay. So, you must be wondering that, okay, business bank has had a strong growth in 18, strong Q1 in 2019. How can we continue? And is this story going to continue in 2019 and 2020 and beyond? And was transformation for real? So here are 3 examples. So back, as Q has said, in 2015, 2016, we came up with our strategy and the 6 economic sectors and the value chain focus. And within the business bank, we completely redesigned the way we operate. So in January, I had mentioned about how we use the 7-component framework and our strategy component to really redesign. But let me share 3 specific examples which are truly transformational, which don't give us revenue just for 1 year or 2 years, but for multi-year. So first is really having sub-segment or industry-focused CVPs, because our aim is to have significant market share in the 6 economic sectors. And for each one of them, it's not about just product push, but actually customizing the CVPs and the value propositions which are required by the SMEs and upper SMEs in those specific subsegments. So in Q2 of 2017, we rolled out 2 specific industry propositions, and I'll elaborate about them in the next slide. Number 2 was the formation of business banking centers. We had our RMs spread across in more than 100 branches, and the RM could have clients as small as a micro SME, as big as a mid-corporate, and there was no specialization. So we changed that model completely, and I'll elaborate that about our business banking centers, which is something I'd shared in January. But this is the key transformation initiative which has helped us pivot ourselves to really strong growth as well as industry specialization. Last but not the least is our zero fee, and we were the first in the country to launch the zero fee, and we've continued with that. And our aim is to really improve not just the bank's productivity, but the client productivity. And I'll also share more details. So with that, you could see Q1 2016 to Q1 2019. After a phase of 16-17 is when we were really strategizing, de-risking our book, moving towards low risk, high return, focused on the 6 economic sectors. And you can start seeing the growth in Q1 2018 compared to Q1 2017, and more importantly, Q1 of 2019, when we know February is a short month with a lot of holidays, and still we've achieved 28% year-on-year growth. So let me deep dive into the next slide. Yeah, which is giving specific examples on the 2 business programs or sub-segment propositions. Just before I talk about that, let me move to your attention to the left. So during 2016, 17, and 18, we were really reshaping our book. If you look at our client base, so right at the top is our client base. I'm sorry about this. So right at the top is our client base. So last year, our average client number was 29,300 business banking clients, spread across micro SME, SME to upper SME. From 2016 to 2017, our client base was pretty flat. So what were we doing in 2018 was really deepening client relationships. And we started originating new clients in 2018, partnering with our rainmakers or key corporate clients and really focusing on their value chain. And you can see by the end of Q1, we already have 35,000 active clients. And we are growing client base across micro SME, SME, as well as upper SME. So it's a pretty strong growth. So 13% growth in new client acquisition. So focusing on originating the right client in the right segment, but also at the same time, you can see how we are deepening our existing relationships. So on the bottom left, you see the revenue per client in our chosen, in our three economic segments, which is micro SME, SME, and upper SME. And we have grown our client income by 14%, which shows that clients are using us or want to bank with us, and we are on our journey to become from core bank to main bank for many of our clients in the chosen subsegment. So it's a story about new-to-bank acquisition in the right segment, right sub-segment, through our partnerships and rainmakers, which is the value chain, and also deepening. We continue to deepen our relationships. So on the right is, as I said, we launched our business programs for two of our key sub-segments, so food and beverage being one, and real estate being the other, and we launched that in Q2 of 2017. And you can see the numbers. While our active client base is increasing, but our revenue per client is increasing by 23%. So as the client grows, as the economy grows, our clients grow, and we grow with them, but we also capture more market share from the other banks. And that's our strategy. And we are very, very focused in terms of the new clients we acquire. Moving on. So how is this possible, right? We can have the best value proposition and the best solutions, but if we don't have the right people, all that will be a wasted effort. So in January, I spoke about this, so it's a little bit of a repetition, but I think this is a great story. Creation of the Business Banking Center was the biggest transformation which happened in the business bank. Imagine you have RMs across 100 branches who are not specialized. They could have clients in iron and steel and plastics and FMCG. That was back then in 2015. With the formation of Business Banking Center towards the end of 2017, there was major change which happened. Every client was allocated certain industries. Every business banking center was started specializing in the chosen subsegments. And there was major portfolio reallocation. So those of you, if you've been an RM in banking, all you want to do is manage your clients. It's very difficult. Change is very difficult to actually move away your clients to somebody else. But we did that. In 2018, we saw strong results, and we continue to see the strong results in Q1 2019. 28% growth in our revenues, 26% improvement in RM productivity. 26% in Q1 2019 is on the back of last year. Our revenue per RM grew 33%. These are staggering numbers. So just imagine the revenue per RM doubled for the business bank in just 2 years. And that's how fundamental the creation of the BBC was. This is something which is very difficult to copy. And this is really a prime example of how the bank is executing its strategy. This story, I can keep talking. And my colleague Feng has even a better story to talk about the retail bank. So, back in end of 2016, I think Retail Bank had launched zero fee for retail banking or retail online banking. And then we took a leaf of something from Retail Bank which has worked and applied that to the corporate bank. We were the first in the market. So those of you may recall in July of 2018, we were the first bank to launch zero fees. So any transaction made through the corporate online banking platform, we didn't charge any fee. Look at the results. We doubled the number of active clients using our corporate online banking from 7,000 to 15,000. So almost half of our client base now actually uses what we call fast e-banking. Number two, the average number of transactions per client per month went up by 50%. That means the client is using us, Techcombank, as the primary operating bank. And if they use us as the primary payments bank, we enjoy the liquidity as well. In an economy which is very, very cash heavy, it's extremely expensive to manage cash. So our strategy is really to drive payments, and payments will ensure that we get the liquidity. And last but not the least, you can see the average, the CASA balances, the current account, saving account balances from the FEB clients has doubled. We went from 4 trillion to 8 trillion. And we are continuing with the zero fee. Now, a lot of other banks have copied, but if you read the fine print, there's a lot of terms and conditions. Oh, you must keep so much balance. Oh, you must make only X number of transactions. But for us, there's no frills attached. You make a payment on corporate online banking, you enjoy zero fees. And that's being absolutely transparent and really being greater for our clients. And we will continue with this for the rest of the year. Not just that, we are also investing on enhancing and improving our corporate online banking channels as there's, and we are listening to our clients. So before I hand over to my colleague, Ms. Feng, in summary, the bank has two strong engines of growth. In 2017, 2018, the retail bank obviously was growing extremely strongly. BB, Business Bank, started to grow in 2018, and you can see that we have continued that growth in Q1 of 2019. And the platform which we have set and how we've executed our transformation agenda makes us absolutely confident that this growth is here to stay, not just for 1 or 2 years, but for many, many years. With that, may I invite my colleague, Ms. Feng, to share the phenomenal story of retail banking.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure today to be with you so that I can share with you our business performance of the first quarter of our PFS, our retail banking business of Techcombank. And this is a continuation of the transformation journey since 2016, early 2016. So let us put ourselves into some historical perspective when we just kick-started the journey. At that time, we began with the choice of the focus customer segments, which is our affluent and mass affluent retail customers. And the number of households in these two subsegments are around 4.5 million households in Vietnam, among a total of 26 million households in Vietnam. So in retail banking business, we decided to focus on affluent and mass affluent customer segments. And in order to serve those segments in the best way, we try to gain our understanding and deepen our understanding of their financial needs so that we can provide the suitable customer service and products throughout their life cycle. Our mission is how to bring banking transactions to our customers in the most convenient way. So we decided not to just focus on credit products and lending products, but also to respond and meet other needs of our customers as well. Over the past 3 years, we have introduced a lot of services and new solutions to our customers, our focus customer segments. And now we are #1 bank in our champion products, for example, investment-linked products, corporate bonds, and those investment-linked products have provided our customers with different channels and solutions so that they can optimize the returns on their savings. We also offer protection solutions with bancassurance products, and we are also #1 in the market in mortgage loan products, which are customized to Techcombank's sub-segments of customers. And we are also number one in payment solutions that allow our customers to conduct very simple and convenient transactions online and use less cash because cash payment transactions are quite costly and inconvenient. So that is the general introduction to our retail business and our focus customer segments. But let me now talk about some financials to see what we have achieved. And this is a result of our execution of our transformation strategy over the past more than 3 years. On the whole, you can see that from Q1 2016 to Q1 this year, our TOI has increased by 78%. And a very interesting thing to note is that in 2016, 71% of our TOI came from affluent and mass affluent customers, and now this share has increased to 78%. That means mass affluent and affluent customers contribute more and more of our TOI, and 70% of our TOI from mass affluent customers come from non-lending products. But from other come from non-lending products. So this highly reflects the strategy that we decided to pursue. If you look at the growth rate over the past several quarters, our retail business TOI has increased by 30 to 31% quarter and quarter. If you look at the details, you can ask what have we done in order to achieve such impressive growth. Payment solutions are one of the things that we chose to focus on over the past few years because 95% of Vietnamese population have to spend their money on their day-to-day transaction and consumption. And here we want to make sure that their payments transactions can be most convenient. In September in 2014, we introduced, we have a big zero fee program in 2017. At that time, all other banks charge fees on online and internet banking transactions. At that time, our revenue from online channel is only 50 billion Vietnamese dong, but we were ready to waive transaction fees for online transactions of our customers so that they can have more convenience. And in the first quarter of 2019, we have 11 million transactions a month. So this is a 20 times increase compared to the first quarter of 2016 when we kickstarted our transformation journey. The total number of users on our internet banking and online banking is 1.7 million users with 11 million transactions a month. That means on average, one user conducts 6 to 7 online transactions a month. So for affluent and mass affluent customers, the number of online transactions is even greater. And the more they conduct transactions online, the better we are able to understand their behavior and habit. The more information we have of them so that we can analyze their needs and wants, and we can develop better and better products and services that meet those needs. 31% increase and growth of our revenue over the past years also means we have to invest heavily in our technology and system. It's the convenient and strong technology and platform is what helps our customer
conduct transactions online very quickly and very conveniently. And let us look at the term deposits number as well. In the first quarter of 2016, the amount of term deposits on online channel was only 3% of total deposits, but now it is 25%. And our objective is that in this year, 50% of the deposits, of term deposits, would be done online. So that saves time for the customer, and they would no longer have to stand in queues and wait for being served at the physical branches of Techcombank. So the share of online savings, term deposits, is increasing, and this is very impressive and very positive growth. Card transaction is also one of the big focuses of Techcombank, and this is not only true for Techcombank but also true to the direction and orientation of the Central Bank of Vietnam. At the moment, regarding the debit cards, 95% of customers use debit cards for cash withdrawals transactions. But with cash withdrawals, there are many costs involved because we have to invest in ATMs, and the customer also have to spend time going to the ATM to withdraw their cash and so on. So one of the big directions that we have is how to encourage the customers to use their debit cards for payment transactions rather than for cash withdrawals. But in order to encourage them to use debit cards for payment transactions, we need to make sure that our debit cards are convenient for them and secure as well. And in March 2018, we launched a very important campaign for all debit card holders, which is the 1% unlimited cashback program for all debit cards. And thanks to the program, we have achieved very impressive growth during the past 6 months. And in the first quarter of 2019, the Visa debit card of Techcombank has become the #1 debit card in Vietnamese market, and this is the first time we achieved that position. In previous quarters, we were only #1 in Visa credit card, but this quarter, this is the first time that we are also #1 in Visa debit cards in terms of transaction volume. So Techcombank Visa cards now are ranking #1 in terms of total transaction volume according to Visa organization reports in Vietnam. So if we combine credit and debit cards together, our market share is 11.5% of number of cards, but 52% market share in terms of payment volume. And that is also a very encouraging reflection of our right strategy in encouraging people to use less cash in their transaction, saving time for them and guaranteeing a much better experience and satisfaction. So during the past 3 years, we were quite consistent in adjusting our operation system, preparing and building strong technological platforms so that we can accommodate a large number of transactions with seamless and quick and convenient transactions. And if we look at the CASA, which is the demand deposit, savings and current accounts balance, our CASA deposits has increased by 6 times, 10 times, or 12 times, depending on different customer subsegments. And that means that customers are very loyal to Techcombank and use Techcombank as the primary bank for their transactions. And the number of transactions has increased by 200%. And if you look at the year-on-year growth, our growth has been 70% in terms of CASA deposits of retail banking compared to the first quarter last year. So we launched the Big Zero Fee in March 2016, and the real results have been steady, but the most impressive results was last year, the fourth quarter of 2017, and together with other payment solutions, we have very impressive growth in CASA balance for retail business. So some of the Big Zero Fee program, the 1% unlimited cashback, as well as a strong technological platform and the right focus on the customer segments have been the drivers of our exponential growth. And our TOI does not only come from lending, but also from non-lending services and solutions. If you look at CASA balance, when we kickstarted the transformation, it was only 9% of total deposits of our retail customers, but now CASA balance account for 19% of total deposits of our retail business. So increasingly, CASA balance is contributing a bigger and bigger share of our total deposits, and this is very good. Another area of exponential growth has been bancassurance. And as you know, Techcombank was one of the first banks to introduce insurance products so that we can offer protection, financial protection for our customers. We began our bancassurance strategy in 2016. By that time, our total income of bancassurance was only 3% of our total TOI, but now the objective is that bancassurance income would account for 12% and 15% of our TOI for retail business, and we are well on track. In 2017, after several rounds of negotiation, we have chosen an exclusive partner in bancassurance business so that we can customize our products and develop the most suitable insurance products to our focus customer segments. And the exclusive distribution agreement with our insurance partner has allowed our APE to increase steadily, and 90% of our APE comes from unit-linked products for affluent and mass affluent customers. By the first quarter of this year, our market share is 19% in bancassurance business. And in the fourth quarter of 2018, we began another transformation in bancassurance business. We switched from the referral model to the direct model. By referral model, I mean we use agents from Manulife, but now it's Techcombank employees who would introduce and advise customers on insurance products. So that is a one-stop shop model where our customers just come to Techcombank to satisfy all their financial needs, including insurance. And this is very unique for Techcombank.
Most banks use the referral models rather than the direct sale because the direct sale model requires a substantial investment into our training in order to help our sincere people understand about the features of the product so that they can advise the customers correctly. Why do we shift to the direct sale model? Given the customer-centric city philosophy, we want to control the customers and transactions with our bank so that we can provide them the best experience in countries, in the regions. Advanced banks like DBS in Singapore have also shifted to the new and advanced business model and sale model for bank assurance products, and the customer satisfaction could be managed and understood without depending on the partners of bank assurance. Along with the growth of the bank, the customer data and the customer information confidentiality are critical, and that is also one of the driving force in convincing us to shift to this new business model. Starting from Q4 last year, we focused on the affluent customers because they have very high demand for the financial service, and they have very high ticket size for one insurance policy. After 6 months of execution, so the productivity of 5 pilot branches doubled. And with our focus on affluent customers, so 12% of affluent customers are using bank assurance products, while the average reach among Vietnamese populations is only 1.5% using bank assurance products. So with 12% of affluent customers using bank assurance products is one of the impressive percentage. And this ratio is also achieved in Thailand and some other countries in the region. That is also the outcome of the bank assurance transformation model by shifting to the direct sale model from now to the end of 2019, especially. We also try to promote the cross-sale. The simple products, simple bank assurance products are launched online in order to facilitate the selection and the usage by our customers. As you can see on this slide, in Q1 2019, despite a slight decrease in volume compared to the same period last year, as a result of our transformation, we are confident to say that the bank assurance TOI will increase on a sustainable basis about 70% against last year. So the transformation or the shift into the new bank assurance business model is quite necessary in order to ensure the sustainable growth. Next point I want to share with you is the change in our balance sheet, which is also aligned with the bank's transformation. From 2016 until now, we have been trying in order to transform our lending activities, focusing on key segments and key products. As you can see on this slide, 90% of our mortgage loans are offered to affluent segments, and this is also one channel where we can acquire more customers. For those customers who use mortgage loans at the first product, the revenue generated by other products such as the mortgage loans accounts for 30%. So mortgage loan is only the first product, and as usual, our customers continue to use bond product, bank insurance product, and some other payment services with Techcombank. That is the way we try to meet all the financial needs of the customers. How about the loan structure of PFS? In 2015, products such as home equity, household business loans accounted for 20% of our total loan portfolio. These products now only account for 8% of our portfolio. So this is the changes in our numbers when we shift our portfolio from the high risk to low risk products. And that is also one of the reasons you can see our performance, our NPL is only 0.8%. And the NPL of mortgage loans decreased from 1.9 to 0.8%. You can see these numbers have manifested the outcome of our transformation journey over the past 3 years. One of the key takeaways we should remember is that transformation takes time, but once a transformation is on the right track, the outcomes could be quite impressive. You can see the impressive growth of the CASA of PFS has increased quite sharply. One more number I hope you can remember is that 31% is the growth rate for Q1 of the retail banking. Thank you very much for your listening. And now I would like to invite our CFO to continue with his presentation. Over to you, Mr. Bang.
Very privileged to be here to bring to closure what my colleagues have shared before. It's always a pleasure as well to hear this story from me coming up here and show how it's reflected in our financial results. Before I jump into that, again, as QA had mentioned, our CEO had mentioned, this is not about really the first quarter. It's much more about the long journey that we've taken. And when we think about transformation, which has been mentioned many, many times in the discussion today, what it boils down to for us is really changing the way we work, right? It's changing, creating daily habits, and being very deliberate about where we prioritize our time to create value for our customers, for our employees, and ultimately for our shareholders. That's really important because that provides you a lot of context about why we don't look at a single quarter. When we think about our customers and their financial journey, what's happening in their lives, this is a story over many years, ultimately over decades. And so that's how we plan our time, that's how we think. It's very much how do we think about the long-term needs of our customers, but also being there to serve their daily needs as well. So with that, let me go ahead and jump into the presentation of the financial results. Again, the outcome is not a surprise because of the deliberate steps we're taking along the way, but for the first quarter, which you've seen the financial results, we delivered a record first quarter results. Again, it reflects a good balance of interest and non-interest income, very much in line with the strategy of diversifying our revenue base. Our non-interest income was, as mentioned earlier, supported by strength and growth in our bank assurance, as well as transaction banking. And then the expense discipline and lower provisions as a reflection, again, of our shift on risk, our focus on risk management really contributed to these first quarter earnings. I think as you look at this, I'll go into it a little bit later, but look at profit before taxes at 2.6, again, record for us in the history of the bank. Now, looking at this chart, again, as we changed our business model and really focused, again, on how to serve our customers, clearly one of the things is we're recognizing many opportunities in which we can serve our customers and still diversify our business model and be very deliberate about doing so. So it's not just about lending. There's a lot of non-lending opportunities where we're providing transaction banking services, we're providing financial service products such as bank assurance, as Phil mentioned. These are all contributing to our sources of revenues. So when you look at that over a period of, from 2015 to 2018, I think what you can see, and what I would direct you to, is that our growth in non-lending income is more than 3 times that of our interest income, but both are growing very well. The other thing I think that I want to draw your attention to is our return on average assets. So as we cleaned up our balance sheet, wrote off all of our legacy loans, we've been able to more than triple our return on average assets. That's also complemented by the fact that we can grow our balance sheet in a more responsible way. So the combination of managing the growth of our balance sheet by having ability to have non-lending income, as well as cleaning up our balance sheet with legacy loans, contributes to that. And that's a measure we will continue to focus on. It's a reflection of the low risk, high return focus that we have. Likewise, on our NPLs, same thing. You've been able to see the considerable drop in NPLs over time, a reflection again of the focus on stronger risk management. We are the first bank in Vietnam this year to focus on IFRS 9 as a reporting standard. With that, it's really looking forward at forward risk management metrics. So one of the important stories about our business model, again, as we think about reshaping our balance sheet, we're moving closer and closer to our target balance sheet. I think we've talked a lot about in the previous quarters what we're doing in terms of shifting more towards retail lending, which Phil talked about, meeting the household needs or the dreams of household ownership of our customers. And you can see that trend continue. So from 2015 to first quarter of 2019, we're continuing to see a greater shift into retail lending. Likewise, Rochelle had shared the growth of BB and the opportunity there to serve that segment. And just in the first quarter alone, quarter over quarter, we grew 10%. And he mentioned earlier, over 50% year on year. So very robust growth there, driven by fundamental demands of our customers. And then likewise, managing again the growth of our wholesale book, we've talked about in previous quarters, where we're meeting their long-term credit needs by arranging bonds. So that is a continuing trend that we're very focused on. Likewise, we've continued to shift the duration of our lending. So a lot more focus again on shifting more towards short-term working capital loans and away from the long-term loans, which I mentioned. We're meeting that with capital markets. So you can see that shift and that transition from 2016 until first quarter, going from 30% short-term loan and basically doubling that. So we'll continue to focus on that as we get closer to our target balance sheet. Likewise, on the funding side, incredibly important. We talked about it, increasing CASA, as Phil mentioned, as Vishal mentioned, is a strategic priority. You've seen by providing transaction banking and other types of services to our customers, that is rising. And so when you think about it in the context of first quarter 2019 at 28% CASA, if we were to increase that by 1%, if our CASA ratio increased from 28 to 29%, that represents about 100 billion in a savings in cost of funding. Or when you look at it in the context of what it means for profit before taxes, about 4%. So that's how important that is to us, and that's why we're very focused on it. But that doesn't come automatically. Again, it's from providing the right services to our customers, having them work with us as their primary transaction bank, and then we get the benefit from that with increased CASA and ultimately lower cost of funding. So when we bring it all together for the first quarter, when you look at the key profitability metrics and what we look at from our balance sheet, our profit before taxes is increased over the last couple of years more than 5 times. Right? So we are very proud of that. Year over year, we're up 56%. So everything is going very much in line with the transformation. This is just, again, one quarter over a very long period of time, but very much in line with what we would expect to see if we're deliberate about executing on the strategy. Likewise, when you look at equity, our balance sheet, our equity capital position has increased 3 times, more than 3 times over the last, since 2015. And that's up 43% year over year. We again are very deliberate about managing that, retaining dividends to be able to provide enough capital to fund the growth of our business, as well as to ultimately serve our customers through different market cycles. And I think for both of those, that places us number 1 amongst our peer group in a Vietnam context. Again, getting back to capital, I think what we look at, as QA mentioned this earlier in his remarks, we're very focused on making sure that we are able to implement the Basel II adoption in 2019. We have the highest CAR currently. That's something that we will continue to focus on. It's not just about meeting the minimum requirements. It's about making sure we're well capitalized, not only in a Vietnam context, but in a regional context. I think banking over the long term, the number 1 kind of pillar for us is making sure we have a robust balance sheet. The demands of our customers will grow over time. We want to make sure we have enough capital to do that. We also want to make sure that we continue to have enough capital to invest in developing our people, investing in technology, and that can only be met with having a strong balance sheet. So with that, I think one of the things I'd like to, certainly for the audience here, when we went out last year to see investors, a couple of things we were able to align on. And number 1 is the Vietnam story remains incredibly exciting. It's not one, again, of 1 quarter, 1 year, but we really looked at it from what does it look like over 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And the investors that we met around the globe said the Vietnam story needs to be looked at in the context of other developing markets and what their journey has been. When we see that, we could see that certainly in the banking context, the best banks in those markets grew at a multiple of what the economy grew. They were enablers of the economy, enabler of the consumers in those economy. So that we very much aligned on. We also aligned that as a bank providing services, it was focusing on few things but doing them extremely well and doing them again deliberately day in and day out. So that's what we do every single day. We think about where we spend our time, how we prioritize our efforts to create value for our customers over a long period. And with that, that will create the rewards, again, 1 for our customers, number 1, 2 for our employees, and ultimately for our shareholders that are long-term taking this journey with us. So with that, I'll close out my remarks. Thank you very much for your time. We'll take a quick break, I think, and then set up for Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you, An Bang. Thank you, Chi Fung. Thank you, Mr. Vishal, and thank you, An Quoc Ang, for the insight and the context about our performance and our journey. As Bang mentioned, at this point, we invite you to adjourn for a quick 10-minute tea break, after which we will come back in for our question and answer session. Thank you.